Hi, everybody. I am Shelly B, a conservative Black sister surviving in a hot mess world, and a hot mess it is indeed. And tonight's hot mess is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Again, again, and again, and again, and again. But before we talk about this, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share the videos, like the videos, look at some of the old videos, make comments, do whatever you can to help a sister with her algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. This means I love you in sign language, and I really do, especially if you support and help me out with, subscribing to the channel. Anyway, moving forward, I'm going to try to make this one a quick one because I have a lot of things to do. I almost didn't come on here tonight, but my son, I love him so very dearly. He, reminded me that I needed to keep consistent. So I came on here tonight. Like I said, I have a career that's very demanding sometimes. And, I'm trying to keep it together and balance things and balancing being a mom and, balancing joy in life and blah, 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 blah. But let's get through this fast. Okay. So every day I look at a lot of videos. People send me videos of things to talk about and stuff like that, and they just rack up. But what I wanted to show you is not even what I'm showing you tonight, because I came across this video by Brandon Johnson by approval ratings by AJ, and I like his tagline because he says breaking news from a level-headed conservative perspective. Let's make common sense great again. I love that. So I always like to come on here and show you guys different Black conservative voices, especially men, because I just feel like Black men are just really not heard in a positive way to me, or in a position of strength a lot of time in liberalism, especially on liberal news and stuff like that. So this gentleman, AJ, is another person that I watch. I have so many that I watch, and there's so many Black conservatives out there, and they have huge, 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 huge followings of like-minded people. So I just keep wanting to stress to you all, if you are still a Black person subscribing to liberalism, you should really question why you're doing that, and why, what is it about that movement that you align with, especially now, and especially since COVID and, just decades of them not keeping their promises to the community. I would just really ask you to just take a look at that at some point. So tonight, Brandon Johnson just does a lot. And the Black people of Chicago really are not feeling him at all. And they shouldn't, because I really feel like he really did throw them under the bus with not just illegals, but a lot of things, but really with illegals. And I think that was like the last straw for Black folks out there. So let's just listen to some of the things he said, because I just couldn't believe that people could align with these people, knowing that they feel this way and knowing that they really don't have the community's interests at heart. It's time to change. It's time for a change. And even if, a lot of Black people always try to say, when I say, oh, the Republican Party was created to abolish slavery, and oh, Democrats were the ones that created KKK, Jim Crow, and COINTELPRO, and Black codes, and all the wicked programs and policies against Black people, they'll always say, well, oh no, it's switched at some point, and now it's a total flip, and Republicans are the racist one, and Democrats are the heroes, or whatever. And it's like, even if that were true, let's just go with your narrative, okay? Maybe it's time to change again and come out of the liberal agenda. How about that? Okay? And really question these people's motives, because they are doing nothing for us, and they have always been the negative entity towards the Black community. I just feel that anytime that they make a promise to the community, it just never gets kept. I don't care who it's been. It's been decades of this. It's time to do something different. I really wish that as a community, we didn't rely on the government at all, and we weren't aligned with any of these people. That would be my dream for us. And we have our own damn nation. That's the dream. But for now, baby steps. Okay, so let's just look at what this guy has to say, AJ. And I would really, implore you guys to watch other news. Watch other news because I can always tell when people listen to, propaganda media because they all say the same things over and over and over. It's like the same talking points all the time. Never any evidence or facts of anything that they're saying. It's just that, oh, it was on the news, so it must be true. It's just crazy to me at this point that it's like, even with Charlie Kirk, it's the same 4 talking points all the time. And nobody ever sits there and thinks like, are these people telling us the truth? Do I have the full story in this? Let me think for myself for a minute and not think with the group and really go and do the research and see if this is a bad choice for me. Because there are millions of Black people out here that don't subscribe to liberalism, but you don't know because you're in your liberal bubble of mainstream propaganda news. Let's listen.
Enforcement community are taking offense with a comment made by Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
The statement.
Did you hear what he said? Can we listen to this fool one more time? This is crazy.
Well, members of Chicago's law enforcement community are taking offense with a comment made by Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
Okay. A sickness that has not led to safe communities. Law enforcement. Now, law enforcement has a lot of layers, not just the police, okay? And maybe if you had safer cities, you wouldn't need the police. This mayor is like, they say his approval rating is like 20-something%, but I actually believe it's even lower than that. And that's the leftist media reporting that low approval rating.
The statement was disappointing and disheartening. We are part of law enforcement.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. So we're back in Chicago today, and did I hear that correctly?
Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness.
Don't he look crazy, though? He be looking crazy to me all the time. And he has a mohawk. He just looks crazy.
And was disappointing and disheartening. We are part of law enforcement.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. So we're back in Chicago today, and did I hear that correctly?
Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness.
Yep, just making sure. So he said that. So Chicago's been in the center of major political controversy.
So that's probably why the crime is just so rampant in these cities, because they're not tough on criminals. The criminals run the city. They don't have any fear of being locked up. If they do get locked up, they put them right back out. That guy that stabbed that girl on the train, he was locked up like 14 times. A lot of these illegals that have committed crimes, they've been in and out umpteen times. How does this work to keep Americans safe? I don't understand it. And then he blames everybody but himself. Is law enforcement, is this and that. These people.
Controversy lately, not only because of the amount of crime that's plaguing the city, but because of Mayor Johnson's apprehension to Donald Trump sending in the National Guard to help clean up the city. Because if you haven't heard, in the last couple of weeks, a lot of bad stuff happened. A lady got her face broken by a random Black guy who's been arrested 10 times for punching women, but keeps.
Now, this guy's been locked up umpteen times for hitting women. Look how many times he does this and he gets back out. But they say that this is safe there and that they're doing all they can to keep people safe. This is what liberal cities are like, liberal run cities. And the sad part of it and the humiliating part of it is that most of these cities are run by Black people. And they're, in the end of everything, you're going to get thrown under the bus because he's being blamed for all of this. How is this possible that this man is beating up on women and he keeps getting out and getting out and getting out? Look at all these different mugshots. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. This is crazy to me. But this is what we're dealing with here. This is the safety. This is the safe town where people like this get in and out of prison umpteen times. And we will not take accountability for this. We have to put our own people in check, yo. This is crazy. Oh, Lord.
He's getting released. A group of black criminals robbed a Louis Vuitton store downtown and killed an innocent father during the escape. And a mob of black teenagers destroyed a newly opened black-owned restaurant.
Now look at this. Now y'all talk about white people are doing this to you and white people are getting in the way of your success in life. These thugs just went in there and destroyed this black-owned business. They go in and loot and steal from all of the businesses, and then guess who suffers? The people that live in the community, because when the businesses leave, nobody wants to come and replace it because of the crime. So that's how you get food deserts and stuff like that. That's how you get communities with no pharmacies. But you're not allowed to say that, because I'm saying that publicly, I'm a coon and I hate my people. No, I love my people that are not criminals, and I wish that they could be saved from the people like this.
Right, on the South Side, not once, but twice. And that's only a few things that's been happening in the last couple of weeks.
And this is just not Chicago. It's everywhere that is run by Democrats. Because they don't care. They want the crime to continue so they can keep getting money for all these dumb programs that don't work. Because if Trump were to come in and eradicate all of the crime, they wouldn't need all of this money and all this funding for all these dumb programs that don't even work. Where does that money go? Not into the communities that need it.
So we're going to take a look at this conference, but before that, the channel's growing more. We're almost at 60,000 subscribers. So if you want to support the channel, hit the like and subscribe button.
And what I love about these black conservative shows, they ain't hollering, they aren't screaming, they aren't burning flags and foaming at the mouth and crying and all of this and that. They just say the news. They just say the opinion. They give you the facts and receipts, and that's it.
I don't want your money, and I don't want you to buy anything from me. A couple clicks of the button is more than enough. All right, let's get to it.
Well, members of Chicago's law enforcement community are taking offense with a comment made by Mayor Brandon Johnson. Earlier this week, he said in part, quote, "Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness." CBS News Chicago investigator Megan DeMar joined.
What is the sickness are the people that are committing these crimes against their own people in their own community. That is the sickness. But you're not allowed to say that, because if you say that, there's a portion of the community that will be mad at you for that. We cannot take accountability, and we will never fix the problem. We need to check our people. This is insane.
Joins us live now. The comment sparking outrage online and in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, Megan.
Right, Erica. The Cook County State's Attorney told me she was deeply offended by that statement. Some argued that Mayor Johnson's words were taken out of context. So we asked him today to clarify exactly what he meant. During a press conference on Tuesday, Mayor Brandon Johnson was responding to a question about how to make Chicagoans feel safer in their communities.
The fact of the matter is we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that.
Now, he know good and well that he is not driving crime down in the city. If somebody can get arrested 14 times and keep getting out. If somebody, somebody can hit women in the face and assaulting women and keep getting out of prison. How are you going to help crime when you let in all these unvetted illegals into the city? Nobody knows where they come from, if they're criminals and whatnot, what their backgrounds are. How is that safe? These people gaslight, and they are full of it. And they always get up there and be yelling and whatnot. But I'm going to show you later how Black people hate him in Chicago. and how they ripped him to shreds. Every time before the election, every time they would have a town hall meeting, it would be lit and the people would be ripping him to shreds. People are tired of this now. They are tired. People are waking up and seeing that these people are not for us. They're not.
That's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
All right, so I will give him this, right? So those things alone won't keep the community safe, but to say that they're a sickness, like the way he said it, like law enforcement and incarceration in jails is a plague, is destructive to the community, is way out of line. Because if it wasn't for those things, Chicago would have fallen decades ago. Okay, he needs to be thanking the police and thanking thanking people that those systems are in place, because if the system that he has set up, right, going to keep producing the type of people that these institutions were designed for, they're going to need these systems.
There you go. Because their systems are producing these people. And then their solution is just let them run amok all over the city. And then what? I'm telling you, across the board, these people are crazy. I say it every day. It's crazy that anybody would accept this just because somebody told you that conservatives are racist. When there's conservative people of all walks of life that are very highly intelligent, free-thinking people, in my opinion, in comparison to some other people.
They need to keep people safe, right? So these systems need to be in place. But let's keep going.
The law enforcement is a sickness comment took off in some conservative and pro-police circles on social media, even prompting Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke.
The statement was disappointing and disheartening. We are part of law enforcement. The state's attorney's office is the prosecution arm, and that is clearly law enforcement.
To voice her own outrage during a sit-down interview with me on a different topic.
I have 1,300 people who work in this office who are dedicated public servants, who get up every single day to make sure that they keep women safe from domestic violence, to make sure that we are doing our jobs in protecting children from being sex trafficked, to make sure that we are prosecuting murder cases. What we do.
To me, Democrats demonize everybody. Everybody gets thrown under the bus with these people, and they will never take accountability for anything. Gene Harrison says, Blacks are powerless. Now that was the goal. Give the Black powers that be got their cut. It's over. Let me read that again. Blacks are powerless. Now that was the goal. Give the Black powers that be got their cut. It's over. Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of these people go into politics because they get rich creating all these policies and all these programs and kickbacks and stuff. And the people of the communities never see a dime. A dime. And taxpayers pay for all of this crap, but let you need some money like during COVID and during the strike in my industry and all that stuff. You can't get a damn dime. A damn dime. And they'll take you through every hoop to try to get $5 from the government. But people that are not even from here, that don't contribute nothing, not a damn thing, can get whatever they want. Criminals can, steal all they want, rape, rob, and pillage all they want. And somebody like him will make an excuse for it. Why would we want people like this? Who doesn't want law and order? The feds wouldn't have to come into these cities if they were run right. Something needs to be done. If they wanted to fund the police and not have any police and let people run amok, something has to be done, because it can't continue like this. It's getting worse and worse. New York used to be bad and they cleaned it up. When I came to New York in the 90s, I loved it. It wasn't nothing like how it is now. It's like they totally digressed back to the 70s and 80s. It's like crack time again with how wild these people are out here in the streets. It's crazy.
Every day does not call for our eradication.
To clarify what Mayor Johnson meant by law enforcement is a sickness, we asked him today.
The people who heard my statement, they know exactly what I meant and what I'm talking about. They're using this moment to politicize, to justify.
Not taking accountability. He said what he said, and now everybody's mad at him. And he does not have any facts and receipts for himself. So he's going to stand there and yell at everybody and make it seem like everybody else is crazy for not accepting what he said. This is the regular liberal playbook all the time.
Their own insecurities. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to take it. And neither will the residents of this fine city.
But no, the people don't understand because it came from you. You're the person that aggressively refused to prosecute violent criminals in the city. You refuse to set curfews for these violent Black teenagers that go into these neighborhoods and communities and terrorize people and destroy them. You know, you keep tying the police officers' hands and prevent them from doing their job. And you're aggressively opposed to Donald Trump sending in the National Guard to help clean up the city and make people safe. So from the outside, you look like you're anti-law enforcement. But let's keep going.
Johnson explained that, quote, the addiction of jails and incarceration is one that we have to wean ourselves off of.
Okay, so these things are not an addiction if you keep setting the environment for these things to be necessary. See, there's a reason why some cities...
Jean says, also don't forget the CIA going through Black communities, giving out guns to YNs, also wearing Black masks and shoot to make it look like our people are doing it to trigger gangs to kill each other. They did. To me, that is just an excuse. I don't care if they put 1 million guns in the hood. That doesn't mean that you have to shoot somebody look like you with it. That's an excuse that I hate to hear that. Oh, because they give us guns, let's shoot each other with the guns. Make it make sense. You're an idiot. You're demon possessed. You're crazy if that is what you do. Just because I have a handgun doesn't mean I have to go shoot somebody, especially somebody that looks like me. We can't always make an excuse. I don't care because a lot of people are young and they don't go around and shoot all the people in their community. Black people do that more than anybody. Yeah, it may be a rare occasion or two that, other races do stuff like this, but they do it. We kill each other more than anybody. Jean's saying they don't think like us. This is what I'm saying. The excuse mentality. We have to hold people accountable for things that they're doing. We can't make excuses anymore. They're destroying everybody's lives. Charlie Kirk, I don't care what nobody said. He was right when he was saying that these people, we don't need to align with them. Stop making excuses for them. Get rid of them. Purge them out of the community and let them see we're not playing. We don't subscribe to this. We're not making no more excuse for you. You got to go. Just like Chris Voss said, the ninjas have got to go. They got to go. There's Black people and there's ninjas. They have to go. Stop letting your kids listen to the rap music and all that stuff and glorifying gangsters and Jay-Z and all that. No. It's just always being an excuse being made for this, and it's not getting us anywhere. These are the same excuses they had during the 80s, during all the crack gangs and all this. I mean, it's like, what? Come on. This is decades now. Just because they give you a gun, don't you have a choice? Just because they put gun in the neighborhood, that don't mean you got to take it and shoot somebody with it. To see if they united and fought against the government and got back everything they stole, but you fighting and shooting and killing the people that are going through the same thing you're going through. These excuses are ridiculous. That we can't keep doing this.
Some towns have low law enforcement presence. It's because they don't need them. Okay, their cities are relatively safe, and the people governing them put mechanisms in place for peace to abide. Like prioritizing God, putting God in schools, God in
That's
the
another big reason too, that most of the people in this country are freaking heathens. They don't believe in anything. They have no faith, no fear of God, no nothing. On the left, anything goes, anything goes. They support everything on the left. And I feel like that is why too, people have they don't feel that they're going to pay any price for the things that they do. They're desensitized to violence. They don't care. Nobody wants to work. These young people, they don't want to work. They don't want to do anything with their lives. They all want to be rappers and influencers. And to me, as long as we keep making excuses and keep aligning with these people, it's crazy. You know? Peace to you. Thanks for being with me. But I just really wish that we could stop being so divided and really, really understand that we have these issues and really work together collectively to try to rectify these issues instead of keep making excuses, for decades. And nothing's changing. It's just getting worse and worse.
communities, God back in the families, right? Prioritizing education,
Family.
prioritizing hard work instead of welfare, and prioritizing building strong nuclear families instead of the baby mama culture.
That is true. That is true. A lot of these mothers out here, I had my son when I was 40 years old, but a lot of these girls out here are young and they have multiple kids and, they're just they don't have good parenting. And these kids are out here committing crimes. They asked him to put a curfew. He didn't want to put a curfew on the kids. I mean, I don't know. It takes a village, and I just feel like we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And these kids are just running amok, and then they're growing into adults, and it's like the prison pipeline keeps going. At some time, you have to break this curse because I feel like it's a curse.
Which is something that Chicago pushes. Chicago needs to put God back in schools, God back in the communities, back in the families, prioritize education and hard work. Okay, empower the people, tell them that there's something they can do about their own circumstances.
But see, this is how Democrats will always be in control, because as long as you need them, and as long as you're on social services, as long as you got a government job and all these things, and you're all entangled with them, you are a slave to them. You need them, and you're always going to vote for them and try to keep them in office because they're supporting you. Your job is through them. Everything that you need to survive comes from them. It really is just another form of slavery.
Not blame everything on everybody else, and prioritize building strong families. Okay, prioritize. You got to teach this stuff in school. Building strong.
Jane says they be out smoking and drinking with the kids. In New York City. It's crazy. I come home 2 a.m. and the kids are out drinking Hennessy and smoking weed. Yes, they are. I was in New York too, Gene, and I moved away because I didn't want my child to be there anymore. I lived in a nice part of St. Albans. It was lovely. And then over COVID, I just saw it going down, and I started seeing the crime coming and all that stuff. And I said, it's time to go. It's time to go. Anytime you have a shooting at an elementary school, it's time to go. And that was it for me. And, I love New York and I miss it, some things about it, but it just got too crazy. I just watched before my eyes to watch it just turn. And they want to make it seem like there's no crime and the crime is good and they're bringing down crime. No, those numbers are fudged and fake, because if you're letting people out on their own recognizance for crimes like that, and people are getting locked up 15 times for the same violations of harming people and stealing and stuff like that, it's very scary. These people have got to go. I don't see how any people, I don't care what color you are, align with Democrats in the way that they run things. They don't care about America. That's why Malcolm X said, white liberals are the enemies of America. Now, he said that decades ago. Now, I just don't even think it's white liberals. I think any liberals are the enemies of America. They are. I don't care what color they are. They are the enemies of America. Look at that Somali lady, Ulan, Omar, whatever her name is. These are the people they hate this country. Gene says, I appreciate your platform. We need more. I appreciate you being here too, Gene. That's what we need is people to have discussions and talk about things and try to figure out how we can help these kids, how we can bring our community out of it's a freaking curse. And I feel like a lot of the people doing these crimes, they have demonic entities in them and stuff like that. It's like, and it can be lifted because demons can be cast out. And people that are righteous, they have dominion over these demons. You know, and I feel like there is definitely a reason why it's so much work goes into, you know, aborting black babies, you know, making music on frequencies that, you know, allow demonic entities into the lives of people and stuff like that. It's for a reason, but that's irrelevant at this point. We just have to stop it. And we just have to wake up and stop making excuses. That's the thing. We make excuse for everything, just like this mayor is doing. The whole community be doing this.
Wrong families instead of the baby mama culture and championing, you know, single motherhood and all this madness. That's what Chicago needs. Like that's the beginning of a solution, at least the beginning.
That's what any city needs. That's what everybody needs. You know, they need to focus more on the families instead of blaming these young girls that's staying with these kids and trying to raise these kids, and it's very difficult. You need to hold these damn men accountable, which is never done. It's always the mother's fault, but they're the ones that actually stay to take care of the kids. The man is not there. He gets away scot-free. And it's not right. You know, everybody needs to be held. You hold the women accountable all the time. What about these men? Hold everybody accountable. You know, it just this has to change. It has to be broken. And I just feel like it's so bad that I just don't even know how you correct this.
A solution. But let's keep going.
This time leaving out a reference to law enforcement specifically.
When you just responded, though, you didn't loop in law enforcement this time. So did you not intend to use the
I said
loop
that
in
law enforcement, here's what I've said, though. Law enforcement alone does not keep communities safe. Law enforcement agrees with me on that. What?
That ain't what he said. Law enforcement is a sickness. That's what he said. That law enforcement is a sickness. I would love it if we didn't need law enforcement and everybody could just live peacefully on the planet and you don't need law enforcement. You know, maybe we could have less law enforcement if they stop, you know, creating policies that cause people to behave in this way. Criminals in New York, I know in New York, I can only speak for, that they know they're not going to get arrested if they still under a certain amount. So they just keep stealing, getting locked up, getting out, going back, stealing under a certain amount, get locked up, go back out. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you have to really question why Democrats run their cities like that. They all run their cities like that.
How do you send police officers into communities when there's little access to affordable housing?
What does that have to do?
What is a police officer's responsibility to hunger?
And that's exactly what's killing the Black community right there. This whole blaming and lack of accountability.
Exactly.
Now, if you look at Brandon Johnson's past interviews, you'll see something. You'll notice that when he's pressed with something like, you know, logic, he always plays this race card thing, and it's so old, it's so outdated.
Yes,
you know, it's so phony, and it's what's keeping the Black community oppressed. You know, this is what I call passive oppression, because instead of empowering the people, he gives them excuses for their behaviors and their circumstances and blame everybody else. And the people are sitting there and they don't think that there's anything they can do about their own circumstances. You know, so they sit there and remain. You know, they remain and hope that one day the Democratic Party liberates them. You know, and this cycle keeps repeating. They keep
I feel
voting.
like Black people, for as much as y'all act like you hate white people, you hate the government, you're all entangled with them and you waiting for them to save you somehow. That's why I say that is the real slave mentality. They call conservatives coons and all this and that, but we are not relying on that. It's like, I just don't even know what to say anymore. It's like you can't even reason with people anymore around this. If you subscribe to Democrats and how they run things, that's on you. That's on you. But I mean, I can see why people don't want to live in places like this because they're crazy. And people run for their lives out of cities like that if they can't leave.
Democrat, and the same thing keeps happening, and there's no real advancement. And you may say, okay, well, what about DEI? DEI is not advancement. DEI is a payoff. DEI is a payoff. It's a bribe. Because instead of fixing the Black schools and elevating all Black people to a level where they can be competitive with other races, they give a couple 100,000 Black women jobs and say, okay, here, the race is advancing, and hoping that you ignore the real problems in the Black community over here.
That's so true.
Instead of speaking out against baby mama culture and thug culture, they let a couple Black kids into this school, right? Or they give a couple Black business owners grants to start this business, and we're advancing and hoping that you ignore the real problems that's causing the stuff that's causing the real problems in the Black community. It's so fake, and again, it's oppression, and the whole thing is a payoff. But this is what they sell to the Black community and say that, hey, we're advancing. Anyway, let's keep going.
Johnson went on to say that jails, incarceration, and law enforcement should not be considered some kind of salvation for the Black and brown communities of Chicago. We did reach out to the Chicago Police Department for comment, but so far, Erica, we have not received a response.
All right. Megan, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so despite what the
Jean says the Dems proved the money was there for reparations. I believe that's what you're saying, but rather give it away to bill illegals. But when sisters apply for assistance, the man couldn't be there, but the illegals' fathers can be there. How about that? How about that? But I feel like they know that they were hemorrhaging the Black vote so much that they knew that they had to get a new voting bloc. So that's why they schmooze them. They give them all of this and that, and they'll vote for them forever, just like they did it for us back in the day when they gave everybody, free housing, and, you couldn't have your husband there and all that stuff. But it is true what you're saying, that the fathers, they were everybody, the families were allowed to be kept together for the illegals. So that's very interesting. And I didn't even really, make that correlation, but it is true. And I feel like Black people should be more mad than anybody at Democrats because, for choosing illegals over them when you have been the blind faith voters for decades. And why anybody would still subscribe to this and be a part of this, it makes no sense to me. And you'll argue other Black conservatives like this gentleman right here and me and other people, but they're the real people that you should be mad at. You voted for them. I didn't vote for them. They ain't doing nothing for you. I knew they wasn't going to do nothing for me. I didn't vote for them. I feel like I got more than what I voted for already. Is this administration perfect? No administration is perfect. Do I agree with all their decisions? No, I don't. Are there things I wish they would do different? Yes. I say maybe like 90%. I'm happy. I'm especially happy with RFK. A lot of the reason why I voted for them too was over the vaccine policies and all that stuff, because I know that they're not going to ever make that where people can mandate that again. I wasn't happy with the illegals coming in and getting all the resources and all of that. There's a lot of things I didn't like I don't like anything about how Democrats move. I didn't like indoctrinating kids in the LGBTQ in school. It was so much. And I just don't see how after all of these decades, the community is worse than it's ever been. It's worse than it that anyone could ever imagine after slavery. They came out of slavery and created Black Wall Street, created their own, our own nation. We had everything of our own before integration. And then we align with liberals, and look what it got us. Nothing. And y'all want to sit here for another 50 or 60 years and make excuses for the outcome of being aligned with the wrong people in the first place. We have to stop and try something different now. That did not work the way they thought it would work. Move on.
Mayor says the people of Chicago still don't feel safe and they're looking for a solution. And if he's not going to allow the police to do their jobs and they're not going to prosecute the criminals, then they want the National Guard.
Chicago families do not feel safe. One lifelong Democrat looked past state and city leaders and spoke straight to President Trump.
Chicago needs you, needs your funds, needs your executive skills and your bridge building, because Chicago's very divided. People are hurting and there's too much bloodshed.
The group says local leaders are downplaying crime while residents deal with it every day. Chicago police report overall crime is lower than last year, but shootings and carjackings still shake neighborhoods. Some also pointing to the murder of Illinois native Charlie Kirk, calling it a national wake-up call and a reason to bring federal help to Chicago.
You know, I'm well past that believing with these crime stats that the mayor and the city puts out, because I know that they're fudging.
I do not trust Democrats after all their censorship and lies surrounding COVID and lies surrounding January 6th and lies and deceptions and censorship and, blocking, experts from telling people the truth about these experimental medical I mean, they just lie and block so much. The Department of Justice during the Biden administration was just the most corrupt. I feel like the Biden administration is the most corrupt in the history of, government. And people defend it. It's like cognitive dissonance or something.
Numbers. I know that they're taking certain crimes, like violent crimes, and classifying them as lower crimes in order to give the appearance that violent crime is down.
Yeah.
If I had to choose between whether I believe those crime stats or the people on the ground that's experiencing every day, it's going to be the people 100 times over. Because I know
the people that live there. I'm going to show y'all after this a town hall that happened after Trump was elected. Most of the people in Chicago, they turned red. They got tired. They voted for this mayor or whatever, but they regret. And then they turned. A lot of people turned. They might not tell you, and they might not tell you that they went in a voting booth and voted against Democrats because they don't want the backlash and they're afraid of how you're going to treat them after they know, because everybody carries on so bad to people that voted against Democrats. But I'm telling you, they could have never have won without that black vote. Trump said it. They needed it. They needed it. Gene said, we've been tricked by the boomer leaders. There you go. As well as most people don't know that it was Jesse Jackson and some weak black clergymen that went to Joe with the idea of the 1994 crime bill, and Joe went to Clinton's and it was passed. Yep. Democrats have always made the worst policies against black people, always, from slavery days to now. And we have to stop aligning with them and try a different approach and try to be more self-sufficient and not be so entangled into this government and create things for ourselves and our people like we had before we align with liberals.
Was one of those people, okay, that was in that know how the crime is there. As a matter of fact, when I hear a mayor or someone say that crime is down, I think the opposite. I think it's either the same or it went up in some other category. Let's keep going.
One woman then turned to the governor and the mayor.
I do have a challenge for Johnson and for Pritzker. Pritzker, you came to Chicago, you were on TV by the lake shore with all your bodyguards. Come to the south side, come to the west side without your bodyguards between 10 and 12 o'clock at night. Let's see how safe you feel then. Johnson, same thing. You run around the city with all your cars, your black cars, and all your bodyguards. I dare you to walk down the street without anybody, next to you in one of my neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And this is something I said in my other Chicago video, that, you know, some of these people fly in from different parts of the state, go to the lake shore where it's really nice, right, on the north side, give their press conference, say Chicago is fine, there's nothing wrong with it, and the people don't want the National Guard, then fly back,
Yeah.
or drive back to their suburb. Things are a lot different on the ground, but and they know that. They know that, which is why they won't walk through the neighborhood unless they do something that Brandon Scott and Maryland Governor Wes Moore did a couple weeks ago, where they had the cameras out there.
Mm-hmm.
They were together walking down the neighborhood, going through the neighborhoods with all their people, all their bodyguards, their assistants and things like that. Like, that's not what they're talking about. I would love to see Governor Pritzker come down and just go through the South Side of Chicago, just walk down one of those neighborhoods and see what happened. Then he'll know, like, okay, Chicago's a problem. Anyway, let's keep going.
Others describe what that fear looks like. People holding their bags through entire CT.
The shirt says Chicago flips red. It's a whole movement. And a lot of blue cities are the same way. People are tired. And people that have money to leave these woke cities, they leave.
DA rides, neighborhoods with empty houses where families have moved out. One man put it plain.
I've experienced violence my whole entire life, and quite frankly, I'm fed up with the poor leadership of Chicago.
The group says that frustration is why they want National Guard troops in Chicago, something the mayor and the governor have said they do not want. Chicago flips.
They don't want it because they're safe in their wealthy part of town. And, they're, like they say, they have all their security. You have all these white people coming from other townships and other parts of the state that are not even affected by the crime. And the poor people and the black people and the so quote unquote minorities that are there are the ones dealing with it and suffering through it. It's BS. Gene says the crazy part, Trump financed Jesse Jackson and he turned on Trump. Trump is a good man. I personally interacted with him years ago. He's helped more black people than he's helped more black people know he helped more blacks and people know. I believe that's why they hate him. I agree. I was talking to my mom and she didn't even know that they had appointed a pardon czar to pardon black people out of prison, because when he was running, he asked black people what was important to them, and they said the prison industrial complex. And a lot of our people are in there that don't need to be there. They have these unfair sentences and stuff. And he said he would make it where he would check on the people there. He has been doing that, and he has been pardoning our people. What racist pardons black people? Just like Charlie Kirk, what racist tells you don't abort your babies? Your baby is a gift from God. He would do what Democrats tell you to do. Go to HBUs and tell people about abortion. These people are diabolical. And we don't need to align with them anymore. We don't. And you definitely need to stop listening to mainstream media and really just stop watching mainstream news, period. Fox News, all of them, they are all owned by the same people. You got to get out there and really, see the independent news. Watch people like this. Just go out there and just hear a different perspective than the mainstream liberal perspective all the time, because it's very one-sided. Now, after you've listened to both sides of the story and then you still subscribe to it, then go ahead and subscribe to it. But like I said, I have friends of all walks of life that are conservative. It doesn't have anything to do with being gay or trans or whatever. It just has to do with your values and political policies that you feel align with your life and how you would like this country to move forward. That's what it's about. But people don't get it. People don't get it. Yeah, Trump sure did, finance Jesse Jackson. But they also say Jesse Jackson helped get Martin Luther King killed and that he's a scoundrel. So, we really have to question the people that tell us to hate another person. And I feel like black people are very divided over this political bullcrap. because neither party really cares about us. But I do feel that, you know, when it came to Trump, we just had more leverage with him. He was just willing to do more, and I just really thought, is he gonna do any of the things he's saying? But so far, he really has kept most of his campaign promises, and I've never really seen, you know, a president or any administration really do that. You know, to me, the only thing I feel like that they're not keeping good on are the Epstein files, but I don't really know what the deal is. And they keep saying that they have the evidence, but they can't release it because it's kids and this and that. And so I don't know. That has to still play out. The jury's still out for me with that. And I know a lot of conservative people call him out on that, is mad about that. You know, and Jean says, I can't lie. I'm worried about the state of our culture. Our culture is in right now. I do too. I feel like we went all the way back to the 80s again. I feel like it went all the way back. And it's just crazy. And Black people killing each other is no excuse, is no forgiveness for it. It's just crazy. You cannot make excuses for all this crime that they're doing. And it's sad because I worry about my son that is a law-abiding kid and he doesn't get in no trouble, but just because he's Black, you know, he's going to always be thought of, you know, be targeted because of all these dumbass young people out here acting crazy.
Fred says it will keep pushing until Chicagoans feel safe on their trains, on their blocks, and in their homes. Terrence Lee, Fox 32, Chicago.
Okay, I think a lot of people in Chicago are starting to wake up to the lies of the Democratic Party, because you have groups like grassroots groups, you know, like Chicago Flips Red, who these are people from the actual communities in question, right?
People that voted Democrat their whole lives are the people that started Chicago Turns Red. Now, I feel like more people should be, you know, watching this group and in this group than they were Black Lives Matter. Y'all went hook, line, and sinker for Black Lives Matter. It turned out to be a scam, and that lady got away with millions of dollars and spent y'all money.
They're waking up to the lies of the Democratic Party, and they're trying to reach other people and say, like, hey, look, all these problems we're having, a lot of them are caused by the people that we vote for. Now, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I will say that as long as you keep voting these people into office, you're going to have the same problems.
The same.
Okay. And they may get worse. I will warn you of this. Now, they're going to give you things. They're going to give you things to make it look like the culture is advancing, that the community is advancing. They're going to give you money. They're going to give you jobs. They're going to give you grants. You know, they're going to give you all kind of programs that look good and say like, oh, you know, we're advancing. But they're going to ignore all the real problems that's causing this kind of oppression. That, you know, they're going to keep God out of schools.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not going to say anything about the baby mama culture, the thug culture. They're not going to say anything about drill music that's tearing kids' minds up and making them violent criminals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not going to lock up the people who needs to be locked up. See, they won't address those things. They won't fix the schools. You know, they won't educate the children, right? They won't teach family values in the schools, because the parents don't have it. You know, they're not going to teach it in schools, but they're going to give you things that make it look like you're advancing. They're going to give you those payoffs that I spoke about earlier. You got to be aware of those things, okay? But that's all I got, guys. I appreciate you staying with me this long. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love you guys. We'll catch you in the next one.
And why I like his channel too is because he's never selling nothing. He ain't never selling nothing. That's AJ. Approval ratings by AJ. The link is in the description. So real quick, I just want to show y'all how, because Black people act like, you know, it's so bad to be conservative. But if you look at these people in Chicago, I just watched them progressively get more and more like hateful towards this mayor and to the Democratic Party, to the point where they flipped almost the whole hood red. And that's how it has to be. Jane says, I truly believe the votes are being cheated. The technology is there, because I find it hard to believe people are voting on their own demise. Yeah. But some people do vote on their own demise. I talk to them all the time on Facebook. These people will kill you because you don't subscribe to Black people. I've had them threaten me and call me all kind of because I don't subscribe to this. And I just don't understand the mentality and why they think these people are for them with the condition that the community is in. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just want to show y'all this. This was like 8 months ago, I guess, 8 or 10 months ago. The people in Chicago, they be having these town hall meetings and they be roasting the hell out of that mayor. And I used to love it, love it, love it. I used to watch it all the time. And I would say, you guys should go listen to the town halls for some of these woke cities. People are getting tired of these people. They are getting tired of these people. Tired. I don't know what happened to my screen. Okay, there we go. It's ridiculous. Just listen to this.
Good evening, everybody.
They're gonna roast
I
the hell
want to
out of
know,
him.
how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? You see the Mayor Brandon Johnson, you underestimate us. You underestimate the Black people and you underestimate Chicago Red. We're the thorn in y'all side and we're going to be the thorn on everybody else in this council member side too. If you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to take matters in our own hand and we're going to stop it.
I just made it bigger.
So you know that Trump had pulled 45% of the voter in the state of Illinois.
So you can see this dummy. There's the mayor right there standing there. I mean, he's just a clown. The Black people over there, they hate him. And I feel like Black people feel like this more and more.
Illinois 37 in the city of Chicago. That's the statistic. That means that Illinois is turning purple. We're going to turn red.
Y'all can bird dog me all y'all want, but if it's relationship over duty, then y'all don't serve the blue. And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you because you're going to protect the undocumented. Why you going to allow for the citizens in the Chicago?
People was tight with him because he hurried up and got all the money and gave it to the illegals. Meanwhile, the people that live there, that voted for you, that need these resources, you threw them under the bus. They hate him in Chicago, and I don't blame him.
Go to suffer under your 33%. See, Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected. You and that creep over there.
And he just stands there
acting like you just gonna bully everybody. You got people, officers whose families don't even want you to come to the funeral. You just like a schoolyard bully. That at some point, and you might not.
Gene says, the crazy part is he wants to debunk the police the crazy part is he wants to debunk the police. So in that case, take away his police decal. Hey, how about that? He said, take away his police detail. How about that? If he think it's so safe, then he don't need a police detail. Save that money. How about that?
You know nothing about it because you grew up in Elgin. But those of us who grew up on the south side and west side of Chicago, we all know at some point that bully gets cornered in the alley and everybody come at him and he ain't gonna have nobody to help him. That's you. That's you. Keep thinking you ain't gonna abide by what the president of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in city council in red. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So you and the rest of them.
And you know what's so sad about this is that these people believed in him. They voted for him, the whole community. They all voted for him. And how he did the people there is just really sad. And in a way, I'm glad because it took something so drastic as these woke cities taking these illegal aliens and using all the resources of the city for these illegals for people to really wake up. And then you still have a few people left that's just retarded, that's still making excuses for these people.
That know what time it is, y'all come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser. He's a loser. No.
These people are hurt and angry. Can you imagine? These people get you elected and get you in your position, and you throw them under the bus for some illegal aliens and spent all the city's money, damn near bankrupt the city for illegal aliens, and put 10 toes down and fought like hell for the illegals and not the people that voted for you of your community that look like you. He's disgusting.
And Zoe, we ain't doing nothing for nobody except for ourselves. We got you, loser.
14% rating is what you appear to have, Brandon.
I'm telling you, you listen to any town hall and the people just be going off the whole time. And he just stands there like a fool. He has nothing to say. Nothing to say. Nothing. He will never be accountable for anything. Gene says we have people like him and AOC in New York, salary $139,000, but ended up with $6 to $8 million in in their account after 2 years of service. Yeah, that's why a lot of people go into politics, because they can start these fake ass companies and stuff like that and get money out of it and kickbacks and do. That's why they become politicians. They don't really want to help nobody. And that's the one thing I can say about Donald Trump. He's already rich already. He doesn't need that money. Like, I really feel like ego-wise, I feel like he really wants to make the country better so he could go down in history as the best president and he did all these great things for America. I really think that's what fuels his ego. It's just, he wants to make America better. I sure hope he comes for help save New York. During his campaign, he said he would definitely come and try to help New York because that's where he's from. And so far, he's kept all his promises. I don't see nothing wrong with the National Guard coming in if these states cannot control the crime and their law enforcement is not sufficient. Why not have aid come there and help until they can hire the amount of police they need and stuff like that to make the city safe? I just don't understand, what the big deal is. I really don't. With 9/11, New York City always has a National Guard there. And the subways do feel kind of safer with the National Guard there. But people still cutting up. People still will cut up. But I do feel their presence does stop people from acting crazy, because when you go into Penn Station in New York, there's always National Guard there. I haven't been in the subways for a long time, but after a point, you just get used to them being there. To me, they're not causing a problem, but their presence makes people not want to act up. I don't really see nothing wrong with them coming. I really don't.
Johnson, across the United States, or how they see you. But 14% rate.
He never says anything.
I'm going to talk about like a fool. All those known donations of $11.5 million that came from places like the CTU, the SEIU, the American Federation of Teachers, Illinois Federation of Teachers, and then someone got the nerve to get on there and talk about cutting the pensions. What about our real estate? Because, see, we paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back. Start it off with that.
In the letter calling for the special meeting, the only item up today for consideration is item number 02024-0013679. And ordinance authorizing the fiscal year 2025 property tax levy. There are 0 nays, 50 nays. This matter has been voted down. Alderman Mitchell on a motion to adjourn.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And you know, he's but one wicked ass liberal mayor. The governor of New York, she made a public health order that they can come and lock you up at any time. If there's another public health scare and you don't want to take the medical products, stuff like that, they could come and lock you up indefinitely. It's worse than being locked up for mental illness or something. It's the same thing. They could come and take you. It's a public health order. You could go Google it online. And one of my videos, one of my old videos from last year, I explain it in detail what it is, and all of the links are in there. If you go to my live section and scroll, you'll see something about COVID camp bill or something like that. It explains all of that, how it happened and how they circumvented, to get this passed and stuff like that. So in New York, next time they have another public health scare and you don't want to take your vaccine, they can come and get you and come and quarantine you, lock you up, and force you medications and all that. But see, these are the things they do that are just under the radar. I don't care what nobody says. Democrats are the tyrannical government. They are the fascist government that they say that Republicans are. Because Republicans didn't do any of those things. They didn't want to force medical products on people. They didn't try to sneak in public health ordinances where you have to be forced vaccinated and stuff like that. If they want you to, they can quarantine your whole job, your whole neighborhood. Go read it. Go read it. It's there. It's the law in New York, and a lot of people don't know about it. But you want to keep voting these people in office. Y'all crazy. I don't understand it. So I'm going to go now. Boy, oh boy, what a world. What a world. And people want to argue with you night and day about why you will not subscribe to the liberal agenda with all of these crazy things that they do. It's really sad. Kathy is a major problem for Blacks in New York. She's a major problem for everybody in New York. Because and she's so ignorant and so prejudiced and stuff like that. She's just so bigoted. I can't stand her. But y'all getting ready to get somebody worse than her. Y'all getting ready to get a whole group worse. I just can't even believe that people still will align with these people. It just shocks me every day whenever I hear somebody say that they will vote Democrat. And I feel like suffer. Like the people in Chicago, somebody said, well, y'all voted for him. So now you got to suffer. You voted for him. And now you don't like, how he did. That's on you. You voted for him. She looks like the clown from Saw. Yeah, she does. She looks very diabolical. Very much so, Jean. Very much so. I mean, I'm happy I got out of New York, but New Jersey is not far enough away. The Bible says in them days and last days, everybody need to come out to cities because it's going to be crazy. It's going to be like the purge. It already is like the purge. It already is like the purge. And you guys want more years of liberalism. Y'all want more years of these crazy woke leaders in your city. Make it make sense. So what you trying to leave New York? Yeah, run for your life. Run for your life. My son only has a few more years in school, and I'll probably leave the region. Shit, if I could leave the whole country and go somewhere else, I would. Somewhere that's just a chill place and not full of drama politically. But, that's hard to find on earth today, I don't know. I got to really think about that. Anybody that knows, let me know. I really was thinking about buying citizenship in another country. I think I did a live about that, about places where you could buy citizenship. And it's rather easy to get. I mean, it might cost you a couple $100,000, to get it, but you can buy it. So, I just, thank you so much. I feel like everybody deserves to not live in a woke city. New Jersey has its issues too, but it's just much better because I don't have to worry about them trying to force medical products on my child. He only got a little bit of school left, and wherever he goes to college, I will make sure that it's not in one of those woke cities where they're going to try to force medical products on the kids to go to school. So I'm going to go now because I'm hungry and I'm also tired. But I love coming on here and sharing information with people. That's what I just love to do. And it's just always in my spirit to try to share a different perspective and show Black people more than anybody that there's other Black people out there that think just like you do. If you're afraid to admit that you don't align with liberalism, you don't have to be anymore because there's so many like-minded people out there. But if you're just in a circle of other liberals and you're just watching liberal media, you will think that's not the case. But I'm just telling you, it's like-minded people everywhere. Look at Jimmy Kimmel. ABC put him back on the air, but Sinclair, the distributor, the affiliates that have big markets, they refuse to put it, like 2 of them. So a lot of portions of the market will not get Jimmy Kimmel. It will be preempted. 2 companies said they're not going to air his show. So it's going to be very limited who can see it, which means that's going to cut into their advertising and blah, 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 blah. So a lot of people don't subscribe to it. And once a lot of people didn't subscribe to it before Trump got in office. But once he got in office, it was like safe. You know, they was hiding. Now it's safe to come out now. You know what I mean? So that's why you can see how Disney reinstated the show, but the affiliate said, well, we still ain't going to show it. Yeah, you know what, Gina? I was thinking about Thailand, and one of my close friends, he goes to Thailand all the time, and he loves it. And I have a lot of friends, and he's Black too. He loves it over there. So I was thinking about Thailand, and I did look at some places there, and they're very affordable and beautiful places out there for a fraction of what I would have paid to stay here. You know, so I really did think about Thailand too. So that's just like a further confirmation. And if several people have told me about Thailand, I just want to have another place to go. Because it is going to pop off here, whether it be civil war or something else. And I feel like it's going to be time to go. It's going to be time to go. And I feel like people need to start preparing themselves of what's going to happen, because I really feel the way that this is going, I really do feel it's going to be civil war or world war or something. And, you know, they cannot take away the fact that Donald Trump did calm down a lot of these conflicts throughout the world. Because at the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks. And these countries want to make their money. Everybody wants to make their little coins and have their economies grow and, you know, not be hit in the head too hard with terrorists and make deals and, you know, be peaceful. Everybody does want that. But Democrats don't want that. They are globalists. Their job, their goal, they're not nationalists. They don't care about this country. They want to control the whole entire world. That is the globalist agenda. Nationalists care about this country, understand? And they care about what happens here. They care about making everything stable here. Globalists, they want to control the world. That's why they have the United Nations. They want to be in every nation's business, trying to pillage, rape, and rob. So I don't have no problem with Christian nationalists. And the only reason why you guys do is because your program and propagandizers think it's bad, and it's not bad. If you live here, you should be a nationalist, because if you got locked up abroad, who's going to come and get your ass? Not anybody from anywhere but this country right here. And the United States is the greatest nation on earth. Everybody wants to come here. They want to leave their messed up country and come here. So think about that. We have it good here. We need to try to save and keep everything the way that it needs to be peaceful and happy here. All right, so I'm going to go. I am Shelly B. This means I love you in sign language, and I do. If you sat with me, Jean, I appreciate you for being here. Genesis was in here. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all very much. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I need it. I would love to see this algorithm hit eventually. Instagram is doing pretty good. My TikTok was taken down. I had to start all over, and I'm going to start all over. The devil's a liar. They ain't going to stop me. When they took my Instagram down, when I put it back up, it did 100 times better than the last page. So I'm hoping the same for TikTok, and I'm hoping the same for YouTube. Or not. Who cares? As long as people are watching, if one person's watching, and I feel like that was the message that God wanted me to present. So I'm going to go, you guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. And please, please subscribe to the channel. And I will see you on the next one. if I can close out, I'll see you on the next one, y'all. Good night.